This game is uncapped frame rate. Why? Why is that a setting in any game ever? Honestly,
Yeah.
it's like it's the setting of like, do you want to set your computer on fire?
I remember being a little bit like, wow, look at me go. I can play World of Warcraft at 500 frames per second. But like, why? Why?
Yeah. What were we doing last time? Did we turn the bass on yet?
No, we didn't.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Oh,
we left it as a problem for Tomorrow Us.
Yeah, but the problem is that Tomorrow Us is 3 weeks removed from our original effort.
No, it's the...
So did you see the message that somebody sent me? It was that basically nuclear power.
Because it's your messages.
I forwarded it to you, but at any rate, yes. Somebody said that nuclear power is kind of glitchy because it's still new.
Oh, you said turns out nuclear power is. You didn't forward me shit.
I mean, it wasn't an email.
No, I mean like you didn't screen cap someone's message or quote it or anything.
Oh my god, whatever.
So I don't have the context that it's that.
The context was somebody told me that.
Yeah.
There you go.
You're like, remember that message I forwarded? I'm like, no. And then I look at your text feed. It's like, it's just you saying stuff to me a lot. There's no other people here.
We haven't spoken in like 3 weeks, and we're immediately fighting.
Yeah.
It's dirty.
It's fine. I probably already fixed it anyway. Just to cut off the entire conversation. So last session, my plan was to make a bunch of batteries. And turns out they take an hour to charge, so I ran the game for an hour this morning so they would charge while I was having breakfast and stuff. So let's try to flip this breaker. And pray that it saves us so we don't have to spend the next hour trying to build another nuclear reactor while there's no things being made, including the stuff that makes the nuclear reactor. Let's see, where are you?
I'm messing around. I'm trying to remember where I am myself. I'm in the copper sheets. Okay.
All right, well, I'm gonna flip the breaker because you're too far away and I don't feel like waiting for you.
I'm actually super far away. Yeah, just flip that shit.
1. Fuck. I think it's working.
It looks good. It looks good. Shit looking very good it is.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Ooh.
You did it. Oh, that's a lot of nuclear waste I'm next to it is. That's radiation.
What is that timer? Is that minutes or hours?
Is that how long we have before the batteries drain? Are you looking at a timer or something?
It's there's like a battery meter for the there's a meter for the batteries on the breaker, and it keeps. Oh, this is confusing. I think it's trying to say how long it's going to take before they run out of power, but it also keeps maxing back out, making it turn into how much time.
Bad.
Well,
Got it.
I think that means we're good. I think it keeps switching to the other timer that is how long it'll take to refill because it keeps not using the batteries. So it keeps switching back and forth between having use for the batteries and not having use. So it keeps switching back and forth between the ETA till when they're empty and the ETA for when they're full because it keeps going in both directions.
That's wild. I can fly again, so it's
really hard to look at. That said, the timer for how long it'll take to get them to empty is sometimes as short as 10 minutes, and other times it's like we're filling though. But
where did you build the batteries? I kind of want to run over to you and see the interface myself.
The batteries are in the pit, the coal hole, the glory coal, past where we put the breaker on the mountain.
Every time it's a black hole that I always take 7 hours to figure out my way to get out of.
I don't know how you always lose the one ramp that is the way in.
Because I never take the ramp to go in.
Yeah.
I jump off of a cliff.
Well, but for the longest time, all of our conveyors have been on that ramp, extra highlighting it, making me all the more confused.
I have my draw distance cranked down.
But yeah, there's a platform where I just put down as many batteries as I could afford to make at the time when we were dealing with that before. And they all filled up because it takes like an hour for them to do that.
These are just big AA batteries.
Yeah,
these are so goofy looking.
Is it the first time? Yeah, I built when we first started this expansion. I built a bunch of them on top of our screws building, So they've been in the middle of our base for weeks, months, a while. But I had to go build new ones here because they're on this side of the breaker. So if the base breaks, I can shut off the coal hole from the rest of the base, and then have these batteries charge up, and then hopefully these batteries can power the base and overcome whatever the weird, crazy startup cost is when you try to flip it.
Yeah. So blue is okay. So when it's blue, it's charging. So the blue, when the timer is blue, it's charging. When the timer is orange, it's not charging. So it's just it's flipping, it's alternating between them a lot. But I think that we're fine. Like you're saying, I think we're fine. We might want to
make a second reactor.
We might want to make that second nuclear reactor, though.
And this time when we scale up water, don't unplug anything.
Well, you know...
Dear Lord God, no.
You know, it only sucked tremendously.
In fact, maybe we want to go off into the wilderness in the middle of nowhere, find a new source of uranium, put that in the nuclear reactor, and use whatever cool water source is near there instead of trying to get more out of this lake. But I don't know for sure where.
That's not a terrible idea. Let me see where the nearest uranium is.
Yeah, I'm not sure where or how much there is. God, now I gotta figure out what we were doing last time before all that happened. That was like 60% of last session. Magnetic field is pinned on my bar, so I'm gonna hope that that was where I left off. Lord
I don't
knows.
see uranium anywhere near us that we haven't. I believe we're already tapping all our uranium.
I think we only have one nearby, so you really have to fuck off all the way across the map.
That was probably the rudest phrasing you could have come up with. I'm impressed.
You just have to take all the way off across the area, off to Heathcliff or some shit. Or we send our prisoners. Oh, shit. Okay. Well, the game's mostly running so far.
Are you still having any sort of weird technical problems?
I don't know. If there's just things that make me feel weird. My new fans are louder than the old ones. And so I really can hear when they change speeds and ramp up and down.
Oh, no.
And it makes me paranoid about them going like crazy, but like I don't know if it's a normal amount of fan or not. And my room seems hotter than normal. Like and I automatically attribute that to the computer, but it's also California in July, so who the fuck knows?
It looks like your previous case was like a noise, like a quieter one, right?
That was the goal with its build, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I also have like 3 outward-facing fans and 1 inward-facing fan, so I probably need another. I probably need to replace the fan that came with the case in the front side with a double fan to even that out more. It was very stressful putting it together. Because there's just too many weird things that I wasn't quite sure about, and every single, as much as people kept saying like, yeah, making computers is just Legos now or whatever, every single step of the way there was a weird ambiguous thing that didn't match on both sides of the thing. Like the 2 things I was referencing wouldn't agree on the thing or whatever, or like the manuals would call them 2 different things, and it would always come with the warning to like, if you do this wrong, your motherboard breaks, and I'm like, cool. Like when I updated my BIOS as an attempted fix before I did that, and they're like, you know, yeah, updating your BIOS is really easy, but also if you do it wrong, you bricks your computer. Oh, cool. Glad we haven't come up with a better system for that yet. That doesn't brick my computer when you do it wrong.
I think what was I trying to say? It's really difficult to do your first like build straight from trying to say. Like
from the motherboard.
Yeah, like I think that's hard. But
I'm still not 1000% sure whether or not my my graphics card is seated correctly or not.
Apparently, Marty doesn't think so, and he's Marty, so
yeah. But he hasn't seen it yet. But hey, I don't know. Everything's like as far as it goes. Like one side is flush with the weird lever that locks it in, and the other side is flush with the case because it's built into like a weird hinge that attaches the case itself. So I'm like, I gotta like bend something to make it go in deeper if that's what the solution is. So that's obviously worrying.
But also, the last build that I did, I honestly like sent back the CPU and bought another one because it didn't it wouldn't post. And then what I found out is later I sent back the CPU, got a new one of the same model. That one didn't work, and then it was like, oh, that's not good news. But what it was I didn't push my RAM in all the way. I put in a lot, and I was like, the motherboard is literally bending right now with
yeah, no,
not really, but like it felt like it was just like you were crushing it. And then nope, turns out that it just needed a lot of force. And
stuff
then
can be scary to put together,
and then it just went clunk.
It's like how every instruction's like, don't over tighten it, whatever that means.
Yeah.
So you're always sitting there with a screwdriver like, is this right? No one will answer me. Like, you can't, the motherboard can't answer me. And it's the only one that really knows.
Thermal paste.
Oh, the eternal argument about thermal paste.
Yeah.
People have very specific opinions.
I don't get it. Personally.
It's because people fight about everything.
Yeah, okay, good point.
They just fight about everything. like Big Joel tweeted today about the fact that, like, what is it? Somebody on the internet said Americans don't use kettles? ? And they were getting ratioed in that, like, tons of people were like quote tweeting her and shaming her and mocking her and attacking her, like,
what
over that. Like, and I'm just like, what are you angry about? Why are people
nuts.
like this?
What was I gonna say?
Oh fuck, I did find them. I was like, we have to be making these.
The thing is, like, also, as soon as I feel like as soon as two people or more start giving you tech support advice, it just spirals into it just is noise.
Oh yeah.
It's like I was saying, you know, once you get like a group tech support thing going on, like the people that are trying to help you just start talking to each other about, that's not a good sound. That's a bad sound. They start talking to other people like about the issue, like as if, okay, that's not anything different. All right, I can ignore that.
What happened?
About the issue as if like you aren't even there. It's like they forget that the context of why they're even talking to each other was to help you.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like, oh yeah, which model of CPU did you buy? Oh, that's an interesting one. It has this sort of chipset. Oh yeah, well the previous model had a fatter ass Northbridge or something, and you're like, just help, please. Did we forget?
No, yeah, I've had, there's been multiple late starts to streams because, like, Andrew, Effie, and Colonel will be having some extended conversation about incredible technical stuff, and they'll just keep going, and you're like, I guess I should interrupt you at some point because this was not just a momentary thing the way I thought it was going to be. And yeah, I remember that there was especially one guy in particular that was like a real like elitist prick where I used to live. And so like when I was building my previous computer, I didn't really want to talk to any of the people around me about it. And even though they might have been useful resources for it, because of the fact that like I was just like, I just don't want to deal with that brand of person, and I know that you are. And it's like the condescension or whatever of like, you don't know all these really specific things that don't come in handy except for once every 5 years. Why haven't you dedicated thousands of hours to your life to memorizing weird graphics card specs like they're car models? It's like it just becomes nerd masculinity, and it's like, I hate this too. I hate this just as much as I do when people like obsess way too much over the car stuff and then act like it's a standard to judge people by.
Yeah, I remember the first time I ran into that was in middle school of all things, where this group of kids that I, barely knew, but they happened to be adjacent to me when I was like, at that school, and that's how friends are made when you're in school anyway. Anyway, I remember one time we just sat around and all they did for an entire recess was watch cars drive by on the road and say which model of car it was. Like trying to prove to each other that they knew, like, oh, this is a Honda CRV. Like they just said the name of the car models to each other, and I was like, is this fun? Are you having fun? What is this?
It's funny to me because especially nowadays cars are more boring than ever before, because they've become like a weird standardization where like every car by every different company is basically the same. Like they all just look like the same car now. It's like the worst.
Yeah, I mean, that's been as long as I can remember. People have been complaining about that, but it is pretty true. Every single car looks the exact same.
Yeah.
Like, they're all gray, bubbly, and yeah, and they got wheels.
Yeah. And it's kind of nice. Yeah.
It is kind of nice.
Like, I used to have a red 82 Firebird. And while I did somewhat miss the
retro,
the originality of it or whatever at the time, the moment I switched off of it, I was like, oh no, sure can't instantly find myself in the parking lot anymore. Everything else about it was so cartoonishly better as a car that I was like, I'll never go back. I drove around my neighborhood in a Civic, and I felt like I was piloting the Starship Enterprise. You don't have to like force the pedal so the car goes. My old car took effort to drive. It sucked, and its air conditioner was trash, and you had to like force technology into it that I wasn't ready for in order to get any music you wanted.
I mean, 1982. That's something else. That's a lot.
The same year as my favorite movie.
1982.
Yeah, George Orwell's 1982, the prequel from Big Brother's point of view.
Yeah, 1982. Everything's going all right at the moment.
That's the exact hacky thing I'd expect in the modern world. It's there's like a whole wave where there's YA fiction where they just tell the same story again from a different character's perspective.
Yeah,
I think it's Ender's Game's fault because there was like Ender's Shadow.
Ender's Shadow with Bean, or I think that was his name, right?
Yeah, Bean, which is a funny name. But what is it? Stephanie Meyer was going to do that for Twilight, but then canceled it. But because she's such a hack, the 50 Shades of Grey author did it anyway and did it for Grey. did a whole book from Grey's perspective. That was just the first book story again. And then Suzanne Collins did one that wasn't the same story, but it's a prequel from the evil fascist's point of view. That's just the new wave now.
What is Suzanne Collins, right?
Hunger Games.
That's what I figured.
Now, first you get your series turned into a movie franchise where the last book is 2 movies, and then you go back and rewrite the original book from another character's point of view, and so you just keep that franchise going.
Now, what you do is you go Arthur C. Clarke with it, where it's like 1982. This is now 2082 or something, or 2000 and 1982. 2982. There we are. And it's like, it's just set in the way in the future, so you get to see all the crazy fallout from the shenanigans that happened.
That's like a whole brand of remake in itself that I think already exists, where it's like someone else gets a property and they're like, we're gonna modernize it, and it's set like 100 years later or something, but it's the same story told analogously or something.
Oh yeah, Dune.
Yeah.
Dune.
Is that what Dune does?
Oh yeah. After Frank Herbert died, Frank Herbert's son took over, and it basically was rewritten from the character who, I don't know if it was Duncan Idaho. I don't know if you've read Dune or not.
All I know about Dune is there's a fat guy that floats around, and Sting was in it.
That's Baron Harkonnen, and that's the movie.
Spice must flow, and there's a whole planet that are worms.
Yeah, there are a whole... Okay, so you've basically read Dune.
Isn't it like 1 billion pages long?
Dune? Yeah. Dune's like 400 pages, maybe. It's fairly short, but it's so captivating.
It looks so jacked.
That's because well, I don't know. My edition of Dune is like really small.
Yo, bro, that book is jacked.
The book itself is like short, like physically, like it's a small book.
I'm curious.
Anyway, so Dune. So the main character in Dune, he has like I don't know.
This one's like 896 fucking pages. Jesus Christ. And that's like the mass market paperback. Aren't those normally shorter?
Nah.
Or like smaller font?
Maybe it is a lot bigger than I remember. So he has like that stock character of like I don't really remember what the trope is called, but think Achilles from Hades, like the kind of the warrior trainer mentor guy, right?
The one who dies at the beginning of every hero's journey?
Yeah, basically. Except he didn't die in Dune. So the whole, well, actually but the stories that were written by his son, by Frank Herbert's son, are all that character when he was younger. So it's basically like, it's like, and he's like just like basically the Han Solo of the universe in a lot of ways. So it's like it goes from like this crazy like epic space opera geopolitical thing to here, and I'm Han.
Some prick.
Han Solo like adventures, like going around and
I see you're traveling alone. I guess we'll call you Solo. How do I redirect this? Yeah. It sounds like the equivalent of like when you, like in the Star Wars prequels, where you go back and be like, and now there's a whole trilogy about the guy that died in the first movie.
Wait, what? I missed what you're talking about.
Yeah, Obi-Wan Jabroni.
Okay, now I get what you're talking about, more or less.
Yeah, he became like the main character. He was like a main character of a whole,
of like
a whole prequel trilogy, despite being the guy that was like kind of barely in the trilogy it was a prequel to.
God, now I'm picturing like what Star Wars would be like if The Rock was was Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan Jabroni.
I mean, give him a few more years and they'll do it.
Yeah.
But just wait. Oh my god, just wait for when the fucking Disney remake live action craze just becomes them remaking the Star Wars original saga.
I think that the Star Wars fan base might actually explode.
They already did. They've got nothing left to lose. They've already cauterized the wound of ever worrying about the Star Wars fan base being happy with them.
No, it would explode like that one like remaster from the 90s or whatever, where he had like George Lucas added like weird like rings to everything that exploded. You've seen that, right? Like he
Oh, did he add like shock waves to all the weird fireworks explosions in space that were like exploding planets?
Yep. Yeah, he added all the weird shock waves. That will happen to every Star Wars fan. Every Star Wars fan will explode with like a shock wave.
That'd be impressive. It'd be a lot quieter online. I think I'm in favor of this. Let's do it. I'll greenlight this. Me, Mr. Disney, Esquire. I was able to eventually find where I left off, so that's good.
Nice. Are there any heirs to the Disney family? I don't think I've heard of any. Like you would think
Mr. Disney.
Well, okay, Walt. So there's Disney, but like,
didn't his brother take over when he died?
I don't know. I'm curious now. Walt Disney children. This is so fucking boring. It's just a list of fucking names in Wikipedia of people. It's like died in 1980, died in 1970, died in 1980. It's like, okay, this is. I really don't know what I expected. This is extremely uninteresting.
Well, you got your answer, kind of, in that you looked at where the answer would be and went, eh. Yeah. About what could be expected.
Yeah, I mean, what's there to say about Star Wars fans that hasn't already been said a million times, though? Just like ties into like the Big Joel Twitter thing you were talking about earlier.
Everyone's very angry online. I'll get back to you when I inevitably make my Star Wars video at some point.
Oh,
it's like a black hole of discourse that just draws everything in.
How many Boring Keith videos have you made so far?
Depending on how you count, 1 or 3. I would say 1, but there are 3 videos on the channel.
I was gonna try and come up with a joke about different ways of counting, but unfortunately the options of 1 or 3 can you give me anything. Like, if you'd given me basically any other options, then maybe it could have worked with something there. God damn it.
It's that famous song by Phoenix, 1 or 3 or 69. That's the best I can think of. Joke. Please laugh.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I'll mark laughing down on my calendar. Sounds good.
In your minutes.
Yeah, I'll get back to you in a little while.
Minutes of this meeting. Writing down, please laugh. All right, so next up on the docket is never put me in a meeting ever. Please.
Right, so what should we be working on right now?
Well, I just made magnetic fields because it was in my to-do list from who knows how long ago, and I pinned it. Do you remember what the
to-do list was for?
No. But now we're making magnetic fields. You can usually safely assume there's a reason to make everything. So now that's being made.
Life truly is beautiful.
We're crushing it.
It's magnetic field generators.
These are magnet. Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah, those go into the.
Is it the space elevator?
Go into our friend, the space elevator.
Dr. Elevator.
And then I guess we're also making nuclear pasta. Are we making that? I think we are. I think that's coming from the power accelerator.
I believe there are currently 3 things. Yeah, I checked the space elevator. 2 of the things already have progress on them. Yeah. So they're already being fed in. Yeah, if you look at the line feeding into the space elevator, it's got a merging two things into it. So I'll just add this to that.
Oh, what? Oh, somehow we are feeding nuclear pasta in here. That's really strange.
Yeah. We good.
We are good. Wow. I haven't played this game since the last time we played it. So that was like, what, 4 weeks ago at this rate or something?
I think it's only I think it was only 2 weeks ago. I think we only missed a week because I didn't do anything last week because everything was broken and dead. I definitely procrastinated for almost an entire day when I had the parts to build the computer and was like...
I noticed.
I was like, well...
I wasn't going to say anything. I messaged you on Discord and I was like, hey Keith, when are your parts getting in here? Radio silence for like the entire day.
Yeah. Well, no, I told you around... I told you at some point then that I had decided to do a new hard drive as my starting point. Yeah. For the whole thing, instead of you trying to build all this on top and the operating system and so on the same drive I started on 6 years ago. I was like, I should actually start over with that, because once I replace the CPU and motherboard, that would become the oldest thing in the computer, is the operating system drive. I'm like, let's not do that. So I waited another day for that to come in the next day. But then, yeah, I hit the point where it's like, well, I have the motherboard and the CPU installed in this thing, and I can't make any more progress until I start ripping things out of my existing computer. And then that just maroons me in a world where there is no PC in my life. And the PC is especially when I was doing the motherboard and CPU, most useful tool for looking up how to do that. So really not in a hurry to get rid of my last connection to not using a fucking phone for everything. Next up is thermal propulsion rocket. It features I think it's made of 4 things we're already making.
Yeah, I was looking into that. It's,
ain't that convenient?
It is convenient to use a word that's a very dumb word that you should be ashamed of using.
Wow.
We're making modular engines. We are making that. Turbo motors.
We're making all those. They all look familiar.
Yeah.
A bunch of them are probably in our tower that we made.
I think that the turbo motors, the cooling system, and the fused modular frames, those are these are all being made in the weird like aluminium tower that we squeezed in the middle of the world.
Yeah. We're that close. We'll be already done, and then we just have to click the button that ages up the server 1,000 years instead of scaling.
That seems fair. I mean, it's sort of like...
I don't think that's a thing.
It's just like...
I don't think that button exists.
Mm-hmm.
Here comes the hovercraft. Yeah. I kept losing my fucking mind. I was double checking my instructions over and over again, and I was using 2 guides in parallel to compare and contrast what they were talking about, just to make sure I don't miss stuff and so on.
Oh no, that must have made it so much more confusing.
And it was time to put my CPU in, and not my CPU in. I did my CPU. It's time to put in my my thermal paste and the cooler for the CPU. And I double and triple checked everything, and I figured out like how it would best fit in with the cables and so on. And I was absolutely sure that I had everything in place. I had the fucking pea of paste in there, the pea-sized ball of paste, because I went with that.
Pea-sized? Oh.
Yeah. No crisscrossing, no weird scrapey fork like this is a Lunchable. So I was set, and I was putting it in, and just horrified found that I could not put it in. No matter how I tried to push it in, the actual cooler would never make contact with the CPU. It would never reach it. And I'm like, why? What's wrong? Why doesn't it fit? What the fuck's happening? And I'm like freaking out because it kind of made contact with the CPU paste, and like now the the thermal paste like kind of dripped in some places, and I gotta clean that up now and be worried about whether or not that's gonna brick the whole thing by making connections or whatever the fuck. And after a bunch of heartache over that and like stress of like, no, I planned everything, it should be fine, I finally realized that the fucking the weird harness thing that you slide in and out of the CPU cooler, you have to slide the Intel one out and install the AMD one, or is it AMD? You have to install the other type of CPU, like, frame onto it. So I checked the diagram over and over again about, like, what direction to screw on the little clips on the side and so on, and, like, how all those work and everything. What the mistake I had missed, the whole thing was upside down.
Oh, nice.
So the fucking...
Well, you were doing an aftermarket cooler, right?
I think.
Did it come with the CPU or no?
Neither thing came with anything. It was just a CPU in a box.
Then that's aftermarket.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are fun.
That was an experience.
I've been reusing the same aftermarket cooler for about 10 years or something like that. And then all of a sudden, what do you know? They changed the form factor on a lot of these things, those bastards. And so it's slightly harder to screw in on new motherboards, which, you know, is terrifying when it's like this $500 CPU that I'm basically about to smash down with like spring like it's a damn car suspension.
Just make sure you ring the bell afterwards.
The what?
It's just an aggressively stupid joke because it's like a like button. You smash it.
Oh.
Circle high. All right. There's the cooling system. So fused modular frames and cooling systems are in this tower. Yep. There's the turbo motor. So at least three of the four things are in this tower. I don't know about modular engines.
I don't think we're making that yet. I was just checking it out, and it looks like... Oh, no, modular engines. Oh, sorry. I thought you said... I thought I was still thinking of propulsion. No, modular engines, I believe they're being made somewhere else. I think they're being made... They are being made, because we use them to make drones, I think? But...
I'll have to bring those over from wherever they're hiding.
This is going to be like one of our last sessions, because all we have to do is just like link all the shit to the right places, and then it happens. Wow.
But without scaling up, it'll happen over the course of like years of in-game time. So that becomes our new goal, is trying to make our base run gooder.
I mean, we could try, or hear me out, we don't.
And I just had to run this game in the background for the next 3 years, and then we suddenly upload the finale one day. Also known as the next update comes out anyway.
Okay, where the hell... So we're not sending the modular engines anywhere, as far as I can tell.
They're probably from a previous tier of the space elevator. Because the thing I just finished making used the versatile frames, which were also just sitting there, going nowhere, because I think they were also sent to a previous part of the elevator.
Oh, yep. Okay, I found the modular frame, or I found the modular engines. They might still be making things.
I need 50 plastic. Damn it!
Yeah, stuff's coming into them.
I made a new floor, but I can't make the manufacturer.
Okay.
I need plastic.
Now the real question becomes, this at one point this did in fact reach over to the space elevator, but it looks like we tore that down because it was incredibly hacky and bad.
Oh yeah, it was just over everything.
Yeah.
We also don't want it to go to the space elevator because it's just an ingredient.
Oh yeah, okay, that's a good point.
You want to take it to the tower because our new tower is where the other 3 things are being made already.
Okay.
I'm currently trying to figure out how to connect those.
All right, I'm looking to. I think Mark IV conveyor belts should be fine for this.
Oh yeah, no, this late in the process, there's no speed requirement. It's all the earlier steps where it's like we need 1 billion screws per second through this hallway, which is definitely always awful. Like the highest volume item is fucking screws every time.
Okay,
propulsion rocket.
You're probably going to want me to use stackable conveyor poles. I'll do that because otherwise I have to hear about.
Well, it just becomes more spaghetti.
I know.
And it becomes so untenable. It's already bad.
You don't like my pasta.
Our stuff's already bad enough, and that's with us doing the thing where we like go all the way to the destination and then split off to connect to whatever we're trying to do. Like, even with it being stacked for most of the path, it's already a nightmare spaghetti.
We tried. We had ambitions. They were very quickly dashed by the actual difficulty and complexity of maintaining a scalable base.
Oh, yeah. We never fully knew the scale this game would ultimately have when you get far enough in. There's just so much. We probably could have handled it if it
stayed at like the scale that we had in Season 1. The problem is that it didn't. Boy, did it not.
Yeah.
I can't even find where the hell are the where are just iron boobies? Oh, there they are. There they are. Give me that iron rod. Okay, put a stackable conveyor belt there. There. Okay. Oh, this is gonna look so good-ish.
Immediately reduce that one. Temper expectations, temper them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, don't fall.
I made a significant life planning upgrade.
Oh. I'm sorry to hear that.
I got a calendar. Like another calendar? I added another calendar to my life. Cause I had this idea already of like, okay, here's how many time slots I have on my channel, and here's how many days they upload per week. So you can do the math, obviously, to be like, okay, my weekly quota for videos is this, and my daily quota for videos is that, and you can like make decisions vaguely based on that. But this entire time, I wasn't actually keeping track. All I would do is add dashes to my spreadsheet that would show how many days in the future, like each like individual series has been kicked further down the road, so I know how soon it needs to be recorded again. But I had not been. Which way is it going? Okay, I had not been actually writing down the quota itself, so for the first time I've created a by getting a new calendar just for that, where I write down on each day of the week how many videos I recorded that day after editing or whatever. Okay. I then can hit a point where I'm like, I'm free, like I can hit that weekly 25 video mark and then just consciously be like, that's it, my week's over. Just stop. And then
did you just start doing this, or had you?
I just started doing this.
Like what, today?
I think I've technically had. I think I had it all for all of June technically, but I didn't get to fully realize its power because I was trying to recover from the fact that I went on a trip and was trying to like rebuild a backlog. But if I get into the right groove, I realized that like I can get into a situation where like it's 25 videos per week. So if I do a nice like meaty 3-hour session, or like get 3 hours of video done, that's 6 videos per day. So if I can get like 6 videos done per day from Monday through Thursday, and just like throw an extra one in there somewhere, wherever, then I can be done with 25 videos by Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday is just like just fuck off, just do what you want to do, and then I can like dedicate, if I want to, like an entire day to writing for videos or editing those other videos or so on, and like do new channel stuff there, or just be like, I'm gonna watch a movie or not do anything. Like the combination of having a weekend and other stuff. It's funny because like I switched to this schedule where I have 2 days off, supposedly, that where I just upload multiplayer videos from our other sessions and don't upload the normal content, and that's my time off, quote unquote. And that did, in concept, lower my weekly workload, which was the goal. But because it wasn't like because there wasn't like a structured thing like this assigned to it, it didn't necessarily have the result of giving me like a weekend or anything like that, or specific windows.
Because you were just kind of tracking your time, but not really like your work.
It basically just led to a situation where I would just work whenever I had the time to work, essentially, with a vague idea of what my goal was per day, but only the daily quota was really coming into play with the planning. And then, basically, I would gradually build more and more backlog because I would usually be making more than I needed. And then whenever stuff came up, that would eat into it. And then I would just kind of, like, hope that equilibrium was zeroed out without any kind of, like, actual tracking of it. So basically, I just now got around to officializing the thing that was the whole reason why I rescheduled in the first place, like probably like a year ago. Womp womp. God, we are not making enough of some of these things. Or
yeah,
maybe
I switched over to like the Pomodoro technique, and that's kind of all I needed. But yeah, it's that's really interesting. I suppose when I first started doing this, I also kind of did the same thing where I was like, you know, if I just record first like 3 days like per a month, and like on those 3 days, like that's just what I do. Like I just develop a huge amount of like footage or whatever, and I edit it. Like that's all I need for like an entire month. It's just to work basically like for the first week. That didn't really work in practice, mostly because my editing software was like not able to keep up with that. I wasn't able to, back at the time, God, I used like Windows Movie Maker for a little while even. But
I don't even know how you would do that.
Now I can't even have, my life would not allow that at all. It was just like, okay, I'm gonna fuck off for work and just not go to work for 3 days, so I can record stuff on YouTube instead.
Oh yeah, it really depends on the idea that your job is the YouTube in the first place. I'm trying to figure stuff out. I had a whole thing where it's like it's hard to find the time, like enough stuff kept going wrong. Partly I kept being like gone for weekends for various reasons, but also like then like more recently my computer was just gone for like half a week or something, so I lost my whole weekend to that, and I was just like, God damn it. Because I had the essay I was working on last month, and I was like, and I wanted to get it out during Pride Month, but then I decided to wait until the next season of the show comes out and deal with it then. So then I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna deal with you're gonna come out in July then. So in the meantime, let's make a video. Let's make a video about just this one movie I want to talk about. And then that also, it's like now we're getting right back around to the time where the second season of the other thing comes out, and I still haven't made that video either. And I'm like, God damn, this shit takes time. But also the windows I want to work on it keep getting lost anyway. What is wrong with this thing? Our water supply is bad. Let's see.
I was trying to figure out the water supply too. It was nuts.
Because one of our things isn't getting water
in
the tower, which means the whole thing's not working. Because I just attached it, but the machine that it's coming from has a water supply of like 4.9 out of 5, and it's not ever finishing.
I think essays is like such an interesting thing to try and attempt because you know, when you're just playing a video game, you can kind of just say like whatever. I don't think there's a whole lot of expectations that you're going to be like, you know, we're not spitting like fucking research papers out. But like with an essay, you know, and then the editing that has to go into that is a lot. You know, you have to it's the stuff I've seen people do, right? Like, gosh, Internet Historian in particular, he's so into it, where it's like you have to splice in animated segments or something like that to like really go to like certain levels. I don't know how deep you're getting into it, but I assume that you're, at the very least, you're probably splicing in like stock footage, or not stock footage, but footage from other things, and like that takes a while. And then have to like put an overlay on it and be like, this is where this clip is from, etc., etc.
Oh yeah, editing is a process. I'm hoping it's never as dense as it was when I made the comedy video, because that was just because I had to make every moment land over and over again, which meant there was just so many. I had hundreds of files for a 10-minute video, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. This is supposed to be a warm-up, silly thing that I would do to, like, break the pressure of like, making the first video.
And then what happens, I don't know if a whole lot of people know this, but, like, if you put a bunch of source files into a video and you try to render it, what'll happen is your computer will crash. You know? You can't just line up, like, okay, here's clip 1, here's clip 2, here's clip 3, and you don't just, like, put them in a line next to each other. Because it doesn't work, and I don't know why it doesn't work, but it doesn't work. So you then you have to do things where you have to record like subsections. So it's like, okay, I've rendered out fully like this 5 or 10 minute slice, and you drop that in, and that's how you kind of slowly like iterate and reduce the number of clips that you actually have in your project. And that takes for fucking ever. That's like the worst part of doing massive, like, heavy-handed editing work.
Is having to render it in pieces.
Yeah, you have to break it into chunks manually, which, like, honestly,
I do feel like a lot of people that make those kinds of videos, though, also don't have super powerful computers.
Maybe.
I think they run into like limitations that are. Oh, this thing's not even fucking turned on. Boy, did I check every wrong thing. The fucking water pump that powers the thing I'm trying to fix. I'm trying to figure out like what's wrong with the plumbing, or like is there a part where it's not connected correctly, or like does it need another pump somewhere? It wasn't fucking plugged in. Well,
if it was stuff I was working on, then probably at that time the whole fucking shit turned off anyway. So I gave up and worked on the power situation, just dropped it like a hot potato. Yesterday, oh my gosh. Yesterday I had a funny moment because I was trying to edit a video while also working. So that normally isn't that big of a problem, but yesterday the gods of audio and video sync were so not happy with me. Like, I don't run into this particularly often, but I run into it often enough to be a bit of a hindrance. But basically the game audio was not lining up with the video footage at all. So I think I ended up encoding this one video 3 times, and I uploaded it, and I had one power fan who just like, it would comment on it, and they'd be like, "Hey Bird, this one didn't turn out good," and I had to be like, "Fuck." And they were ready within like minutes, like.
Oh, and Bird not there.
They thought it was hilarious. They were just like, "You're having a pretty rough day, aren't you?"
Bird,
And I was
no,
like,
not there.
Not here? Oh, we're here.
No, it's up here.
Oh, sorry.
Our aluminum tower.
I don't see you.
Look at me on the compass and then look up.
There's a lot of icons on the compass.
Aren't we always on top though? The person icon? The orange guy?
No. Oh, it's to the left of me. Okay, I went to the right. Okay.
The top floor is where we're doing it. Let's see. This thing
Should
working
I... What's the cleanest way to do this? Probably pull it off a little bit and then do an uppy long boy or something.
The water's still not arriving? Oh no.
Oh no.
So we never made the nuclear power, and now it's been an hour, so as predicted, it's run out of power. We really just ignored that, didn't we?
Well, the thing is, like,
wait,
you said like, "Oh, I need to go back to working on the magnetic field stuff," and then I tried to find uranium, and then I didn't find any uranium, and then I guess I just forgot what we were trying to accomplish at all.
What power grid failed? I don't see. Isn't it fine?
Oh yeah, what do you know? The stuff around me is okay.
I don't...
Well, I'm gonna choose to pretend that there's no issues.
I don't know what that notification was referring to. But our power is now down to 70% when it started at 100 on the batteries. So that's probably not great.
How's the height on this conveyor bowl? Is it or conveyor lift? Is it okay?
I'm not near you right now. I'm trying to figure out the water still, because it's just not happening.
Oh. Okay.
I don't... Is it just taking a long time to fill the pipe or something? It still has not reached any of the things we're trying to pump water into. What's wrong, base? What I will say is I don't know if other people have trouble coming up with things to write about, but I literally cannot get through the process of writing something without starting like 4 other essays. Like the ideas just spin off. Either I have the idea midway through and I'm just like, I just have to create a document in my drive that just is the title and a tiny gist of the idea just to save it. Or other times I'll write 1,000 pages, I'll write 1,000 words on like a kind of tangent that I think supports my point, and then at the end I'm like, sometimes I'll be like, I don't actually like this entire segment, and other times I'll be like, I like this entire segment. I don't think it actually matches the rest of this discussion as much as I thought it did, and so I'll like copy paste that into a new document that's just about that. Because I think
that people run into that a lot.
Yeah.
I think I don't know
the
if
water's finally getting here
or anything like that, but I think that a lot of so I mean, first of all, you know, ideas without actually like putting in like work or whatever, like that's always kind of its own thing. Like you can generate ideas all day, but if you're not converted, like the hard part is like actually like then executing on them, writing it out and stuff like that. So that's kind of a thing that people, but also coming up with ideas of fun stuff to talk about is like way more fun. So it's pretty easy to like, when you're in the process of doing these sorts of this research, to just keep coming up with more and more ideas as like a way to kind of escape and give yourself a bit of a mental break from the the labor of actually like writing a whole bunch of stuff out. I don't know. That's at least what I've heard, and it's out from what I know about this, which is from what I've heard from other people have said about it. That was a nice little Ouroboros of a sentence there.
Hey, the Ouroboros comes up in my current essay.
Oh. Creepy.
Weird. I hate it.
Oh, wow.
Stop.
It's like that one...
Never
effect.
Create again.
It's the effect. But what's the name of that effect? I don't remember. The Enron effect?
The L. Ron Hubbard effect? We just lose all connection to the original joke at some point. Just name random people. Attach that oh, fuck. There, now it's finally going. Something was just broken for some reason. Like, it wasn't connected even though it looked connected, which is a classic Satisfactory problem. Something's wrong and I don't understand why. Use much, because those are just further downstairs. Go. Oh. Yeah.
Where's the fuse modular frames? Are we there? Are we almost here?
Yeah, I just need to...
See to loop it upstairs somehow?
Yeah, I just need to figure out the path to make this work.
There's probably a hacky way.
Well, there's always a hacky way.
Hey, that's a tautology. That's a sentence that's never wrong.
Oh. Shit.
God, this game is so weird with its glitches sometimes where I have to fucking de-equip and then re-equip the hover thing. It's stuck sometimes. Why?
Oh, is
Why
that
does
a
it
thing
do
that's happening now?
Yeah, for whatever reason, I'm permanently flying. I can never descend. I even de-equipped the thing. I took it off and fell, and then took it and then put it back on before I died.
Did it somehow like get unmapped?
No. Because wait, there it goes. There it goes. Okay, that's really weird. Okay, so apparently, if this happens to me, what I have to do is be patient. And it eventually starts working again, so I'm fucked.
Your greatest weakness. Waiting a couple seconds.
Terrifying.
That's impossible.
Okay, how do we think about getting this over to the space station? This is probably fine. It's a little bit spaghetti, but this is the last thing that has to go into the space elevator, so who honestly gives that much of a shit?
Future us when we have to scale it up to get it done this century.
Or we just say
or
we won.
Fuck those guys.
Yeah.
Isn't this perfectly timed for something? Oh, not that perfectly timed. Monster Hunter Stories 2 comes out tomorrow, but Orcs Must Die 3 comes out in 2 weeks. It's getting a fucking PC release, by which it means not Stadia. Because Orcs Must Die 3 has been out for like a year, but only on Google Stadia.
I didn't even realize Stadia had any exclusive titles.
Oh yeah, it does, but you don't know any of them exist. Because they're on Stadia.
Hey, Stadia has a fan.
That's unfortunate for that fan.
Yeah.
Were they sponsored by Stadia? You can tell me. The answer's yes. Yeah.
Did somebody tell me that they tried out not Stadia, but like one of the competing things I don't know.
PlayStation Now.
PlayStation Now, maybe. It's something like that.
I feel like that's the one that people like at all, and that's the only one.
Like they said, the technology to make it like have like such low latency was actually remarkably smooth, which I have such a hard time believing. I mean, how could that possibly be the case? I guess they made it work.
This code's not functional or elegant. What did Code Monkey think? Yeah. I think we had a bit of a weird, I don't know if it's a milestone, but it feels like one where, and it might not go well, but there's a game coming out on Switch that is stream only. You can only stream it. You can't download it as a game. And I imagine it's because it's a game that can't run on Switch.
Oh.
So instead of compromising the game by trying to figure out how to optimize it for Switch, they're just making it stream only. Because it's a Plague Tale Innocence.
I didn't know that that was possible. Like
the Rat Plague game.
Because I thought that maybe this isn't for the Switch. Maybe this is for the PlayStation. But I thought that if it was, if you have a game that runs on a console, the actual code of the game isn't allowed to change while it's running. So, if the game is streamed, then how could that not be the case? But maybe that's only for the PlayStation, I think. So,
have the code change while it's running.
Yeah, you can't have the code. It's like a security thing or something like that. Like, maybe this is only for the PlayStation.
Are you just talking about how the game has to close for you to update it?
No, like, well, I mean, yeah, but also, like, while the game is running, you can't, like, download, like, new code into it or, like, have the code modify itself while it's running, because that's, like, against the
Isn't that how most games work on every platform? Even PC? Do games modify themselves while they're running?
Well, I mean the code itself, like the application code, not like the state of the game. I don't know, maybe I'm not explaining this super well. I'm trying to...
Maybe it's like Futures where I don't have the context for why it would mean what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm trying not to be like self-modifying just-in-time compiled code or something like that. No. We're making all four of the things.
Yeah, we did it. They're all being made very slowly.
We beat the game, and then we made 6 of those things. That's 6 1/1000ths of the way.
We're almost 0.1% of the way there.
Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? I'm gonna try and send it. Oh, it won't even let me pull the lever. You bastard.
It says final phase of early access. Employee of the planet. Delivery will unlock a small reward in the awesome shop.
It's probably just a trophy that just says your winner.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah. I guess this might just be it.
Oh, this is definitely it.